we'll send out an email that has the resources where the videos live.
Right.
Okay.
And I will be doing that through the LMS and by email over the next couple times, but we're going to revert to just the LMS. So, and you apparently know all about that, so you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Then I will be in contact with you soon.
All right. Good luck, Carl.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye. Good afternoon. Hello?
Hey, I see Gail's here too now.
So is this Gail and Tom?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Well, hello.
That's correct.
Gail, where are you from?
The Kansas City area.
Oh, excellent.
Okay. And are you new to Project Lead the Way?
I am new to Project Lead the Way, but I did an IED core training over the summer, so I am familiar with the LMS, and I'm also teaching POE.
Excellent.
So
Great.
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't had the core training for CIM.
Okay. So
And you have not had the core training for POE?
Correct. I'm doing 2 of these.
Okay.
I can tell you just my personal experience in the past, I almost wish Project Lead the Way would put on the stipulation that you have IED and POE training before you do CIM. What you're going to gain in POE about the control systems, Robot C, VEX, that kind of stuff, that makes CIM so much easier. What you're gaining about the 3D modeling and the design process and whatnot from IED makes CIM so much easier. So your kids, hopefully, that have already had IED and POE, they're going to know a lot more about some of the things you're asking them to do than you're going to.
And look at it this
Sure.
way, having the IED training, at least you're that far ahead when it comes to the 3D modeling stuff. So that'll help tons too.
We can say that we don't necessarily envy your next summer having to do 2 sessions during one summer.
Although CIM will
No.
be fun. CIM will be a piece of cake after this.
True. Well, I'm very comfortable with POE because I actually have an engineering degree, so POE's not a problem at all. CIM, I've done some programming, so far so good, but I'm grateful for this mentoring piece.
Okay.
Actually, I think you'll get a lot out of it. I think it'll be really good. I think you'll get a ton out of it. Your kids will be good resources too. And I guess one of the big things we want to do tonight, and to Tom, where are you from?
I'm in St. Charles, Illinois.
Okay.
So I'm coming in. I've got the CIM PDP, and I'm actually looking to be in part of the pilot group for the online core training for the IED class.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep, they're rolling that out next week, actually. So that would take the place of my 2 weeks for IED.
Really?
But I'll still have to do my 2 weeks for this one.
No kidding. That's going to be kind of rough.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it definitely will be. It definitely will be. And I think tonight what we're looking to do is we're trying to make this kind of an introduction, because I think I'm 3 weeks in. Jim, I think, is about a quarter of the way through his school year. So we kind of just want to get an idea of, where you are, and also what kind of equipment you have at your disposal, because that's going to kind of drive the way we teach the rest of this year over the course of this PDP, depending on equipment you have, what you have, the knowledge that you have, and that'll determine kind of like the lessons that we give. And the best thing that I think that we can say that you can do is to come with lots of questions. If you're working from the curriculum and you have questions, write them down, email them to us, or wait till a night like tonight and just pepper us with questions, because it's real easy to answer questions, and it's real easy to give you the information you need. It just makes it so much easier for us, and you get so much more from it. So just keep that in mind as we go through this, and as you go through on a daily basis, write your questions down.
Definitely.
And any days that we don't have any kind of questions, we're going to do this PDP a little bit different than the rest. We are going to kind of go through the curriculum a little bit, give you some opinions as far as things you might want to change the order of and whatnot, but most importantly, we're going to focus a lot more on software. Focus on the CAM software, control systems, how to integrate some of the things, electronics, G&M code, some of that kind of stuff, because really in the past that has been one of the weakest areas for some individuals, and we want to use your time wisely. So for us to sit here and just bore you with curriculum things and whatnot that you can kind of figure out and read on your own, we'd rather kind of use some stuff we think is going to be a little more valuable to you.
Yeah. Hey, I see Nathan's with us too. Hey, Nathan.
Hey.
Hey, quick question. Where are you from?
I'm in southern Indiana. Jasper is where I live. I'm teaching at Pike Central High School.
Okay.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I guess with that aside, a short introduction for me. I'm in upstate New York, so I'm teaching from Casanova. I'm sitting in my classroom right now. I've been teaching for quite a while. Actually, you know, I'm still only 29. I've been 29 for 20 years now, and I've been doing CIM for quite a while. Jim, you want to add anything?
I'm Jim Hansen. I am from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm kind of centralized in the east side of Indiana. This is my 15th year teaching, and I've been teaching CIM for quite a while, but I'm also in IED and POE. So yeah, if you have other questions too, you know, pertaining to POE and IED, Jim and I teach those as well, and I do the other two as well with EDD and digital electronics. So you can throw some of those questions in there too. So what we thought we would do is we would do like an introduction to, and I guess, is everybody comfortable with the LMS? Have you been into the LMS and used it and took a look around? I guess the question that I want to ask all three of you is, do you have access to the CIM LMS? Not the.
Yes, I have access to it.
And that, I'm sorry,
Yes.
that was, okay, so Nathan and Gail?
Yes, I have access to the STEM curriculum, and I'm familiar with the LMS.
Good. Okay, so that's the curriculum that you want to be working from, teaching from for this in the past. Not all of the people in the PDP have had access to this right up front, so that's really good because everything you need and everything we reference will be inside that LMS, and it's broken out, and I don't, so are you guys about 2, 3, 4 weeks in now?
Yeah, I'm in the beginning of week 4.
Okay.
Nathan says that
Similar time frame.
Okay.
Nathan's in week 8, and he said they did not use the LMS, that he's more familiar with Moodle, which Chris and I, that's a big portion of what we want to try to do. I'm in an extremely large inner city school. We're about 4,000 students. So what works in my house and what works in his are two completely different things. So I know my POE teacher, he uses the LMS. He thinks it's the neatest thing since the zipper. I like the LMS as far as having resources for me. I don't have my students use it like he does. He creates tests, quizzes, has them grade him for them, blah, blah, blah. I have to use another grade system anyways, and I'm not the kind of person that likes to double dip on everything, where I'm going to have the LMS grade stuff and then I'm going to convert it from the LMS over to our grade system. I just don't like double working for myself. So I have in the past had students access the LMS, get them codes and everything so they can get in. But most recently, we do everything through Google Docs. I have shared folders with my students. If I look at my shared folder for right now, I've got, if I go to my Google Drive, each one of my classes I have a shared folder with, and right now for the CIM resource, I can give the kids any of the presentations that I want them to have. It's easier for them to navigate. They don't have to go hunting for stuff. They understand folders. I can delete PowerPoints as I need them or I don't need them. I just have a little bit more control over it, but I have not dove directly into drinking the Kool-Aid for the whole LMS. But I know there's tons out there that have, and my POE teacher is one of those. So if there's any questions you have, I can definitely get with him and I can get you any of that information.
And
Yeah, that's kind of,
I can answer questions about the LMS. I've used it enough to understand it, but we're required in my district to use a different LMS. So same thing with Jim. I don't use both. I use the one that my district says I have to use, and I just download all of this content and put it into my LMS. I know how it works. I know where the stuff is, and I think you'll find it pretty easy as you go along to determine where everything is. But feel free to use, whatever works for you. I think what Jim and our goal is to make the content easier for you to teach in terms of this year you're going to be teaching CNC machining, you're going to be teaching 3D modeling, you're going to be teaching computer-aided manufacturing software and robotics. That's some big stuff. And our job is to make you, I think, the way I see it, is to make you feel comfortable learning all that software and using all that hardware and being successful teaching your kids that so that they have a good experience and they have fun. And I think what it comes down to is you got to kind of make this fun. And mucking around in an LMS, if that's not fun, then figure out how you're going to do that and on the side, and make it fun in the classroom. So I guess I kind of see that as the way we want to go at this. So once we kind of know where everybody is, for instance, I am in week 3, and what I do in my classroom is I do a little lesson on the history of manufacturing in lesson 1.1. I assign a history of manufacturing assignment, and then I jump right into third day control systems and let them start building a project so that they're kind of doing I do 1.1 and 1.2 kind of at the same time, so that the kids are physically building something and programming something while they're doing history stuff in the background. So it's a little bit of background. That's kind of how I'm doing it. That takes me to I'm in week 3 right now, so I'm just starting. The kids are working with the VEX, and they're still working on the history portion. And Jim, you're way into it. So where are you about?
Really, I'm done with history of manufacturing, control systems, cost of manufacturing, design for manufacturability. We're now getting ready. Probably another week or so we'll be in. As soon as I come back from my fall break, I'll be into how we make things.
Beautiful.
And I kind of do a lot of what Chris does. We tried this year. So far it has worked well to do a little bit of the flipped classroom. We found a lot in the past that my students are getting bored more and more with presentations and being able to actually sit and listen to a presentation. Plus we have found, especially with CIM, I need as much in-class time because I'm not on a block schedule to actually build something. So I'm on a 50-minute period. By the time we get stuff out, I get attendance, they get to build something, it's time to put it away. And that really, really eats into our time. It's like the history of manufacturing. I gave them each the topic that I wanted, but it was their responsibility to do it outside of class. I've always done presentations. Kids stand up in front of the room and they give the presentation, and I just had no time for that this year. That basically they all created a PowerPoint, they shared them with each other, and then it was their responsibility to read each other's PowerPoint and fill in the documentation. And I'll be honest, I've been pleasantly surprised that with my juniors and seniors, they have really taken on a decent role of taking care of business. When it's come to the paperwork and those things, they've just done it.
What are you using those presentations for? I think I missed that.
So history of manufacturing, the way this lesson's designed up, I got a cough today. They're supposed to go through, and each one of them is going to be given a topic. And I expand this list. Depends on how many kids I have a year. This year I've got 26, I think. So I've added quite a bit more topics to this list. So each one of them, what is it? Who created it, affected it? How has it changed throughout history, some kind of timeline? What's it like today? And they each created a PowerPoint. So if I look at their folder, each one of them shared a PowerPoint, and then they opened every single one of these PowerPoints on their own time, and then they're supposed to fill in, well, it doesn't really look like this, there's a document that they're supposed to fill in when they watch all the presentations. But we just don't do it live anymore. They now, if I look at their individual folders, so if I look at hers, oops. Maybe she didn't turn it in. I'll pick somebody else.
They're all supposed to put it up on Google Docs or someplace where they can all see it, and then
Yes.
they do it on their own and fill it in.
Which that's the way I did it this year. So this gentleman, he's got his PowerPoint research, so he has in the folder, he made his, and then he's supposed to go through everyone else's, which unfortunately this person, whoever was responsible for computer-aided drafting, didn't do theirs. So he's supposed to go through everyone else's PowerPoint and get all of this information. It saved me, you know, each kid's doing a 10-minute presentation. I'm basically getting through 3 or 4 a day. And
Right.
by the time I'm getting through 26 of them, I'm not going to say wasted, but I have lost almost a week, you know, sometimes 3 or 4 days of just going through this, and it's not worth it. It's not worth the amount of time that was spent on it. So, like I said, this year I've tried the concept of the flipped classroom, and so far it's worked out well for me. Them taking care of the paperwork, all those little things outside.
Hey, Jim, can I grab the screen for just a second?
Yep. Oops.
So I guess I'm going to kind of confess, I kind of got off the curriculum because we don't have VEX at my school. So we have Tetrix, and I ended up finding some online tutorials and things like that, and we've been working through those, and I kind of have forgot to go back and ever even look at what I'm supposed to be doing from PLTW. We've mostly just been doing Robot C and programming the robots to do various things.
So you're using Tetrix,
Go ahead, Chris.
Robot C?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I didn't.
With the Lego Mindstorms and the Tetrix, I mean, that's what we had, and
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't sure what was in the sim originally, but I found some other materials, and I've just been running with that. We've been enjoying it, but this PDP made me kind of realize I haven't actually looked at the curriculum in a long time.
Sure.
Hey, not a problem. That's really what we'd like to try to be able to help. Just try to see what's going to fit and how you're going to try to get it to fit. I can tell you that there's no problem with what you've already done, but when you're looking at the end-of-course assessments, trying to prepare kids for it, a lot of the questions are going to come from that type of research. So where he has right now, go down a little bit, Chris. Go back to your topics. Just in time is on the test. Six Sigma is on the test. Lean manufacturing, Kazan. All of those things are questions that they're going to be seeing on there. So regardless of when you do it, it's just topics that you have covered. So there's nothing wrong with the way that you're doing it. Our curriculum, some things can be done in a different order. And that's what we want to kind of share with you a little bit. There's a lot of times when, like next Wednesday, I'm going to be in Chicago for a sim meeting, and I'm not going to be here, so I have to have something that I can have the kids do during that day. I know there's a couple assignments in the curriculum they can do without me, so I save them.
Yeah, yep.
Sure.
So just for instance, what I decided to do this year for that history, and something you may want to do, if the Tetrix and the Robot C and stuff, do you have any VEX at all?
I have a few things. I'm not sure what we have, honestly. I didn't think we had any, but I keep finding it in various boxes. I think the robotics team may have bought some.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
So maybe what you might want to do is take a look through Lesson 1-2 control systems and see how what you're doing ties into that.
Right.
In terms of if what you have doesn't match what you're supposed to have, well, there's nothing you can do about it now. You know, you can work on that next year. So for now, maybe what you want to do is take a look through Lesson 1-2 control systems and see what's in control systems and make sure that you're covering basic outputs programming. See, they're saying do it with VEX, but if you're using Robot C and you're doing it and you do basic inputs and while if else loops and this kind of stuff, you know, you're doing okay. And I got to be honest with you.
Right. Yeah. So we did while loops last week. We're doing if else statements this week. So
and there's no Robot C questions on the test anyway.
Right. Exactly. So if they're learning the basics, you're doing great. And like doing this stuff, whether it's Tetrix, whether it's Mindstorms. They enjoy doing that. They do not enjoy doing the research portion. So
Sure.
that's why Jim and I did here, you do this on the side and we'll build robots. And
Right.
I took all these topics. I've taken topics. I have 2 large sections of CIM this year. So I wanted enough topics so that every kid doesn't duplicate. And they don't all cover the history of CIM, but they're all terms from throughout the year. And I put them all in this PowerPoint. And Jim and I put this together. It's on our website. We'll share it with you, and I'll share this updated one with you too, with all these different robots, etc. But one of the things I have them do too is I have them do a Prezi so they can share the link with me, and then I have them write 2 multiple choice questions. I make an online quiz through the LMS that I use, and then the kids on their own have to go through all the Prezis to answer all the questions. And if they get all the Prezis, they get 100. They know all this vocabulary. They do well on the test, and they did it all at home, or they did it, in some downtime when they're not working on the robot. And it kind of makes it a little more palatable. So him and I both do it a little bit differently from each other, and we both do it a little bit differently than Project Lead the Way lays it out step by step. So I want you to understand too, there are different ways to do it. Just whatever works for you, because think about it. You're on the firing line. You've got these kids standing in front of you. You don't know anything about CIM. What do I do? The fact that you know that, okay, we're going to do some of this programming, and here's the stuff. As long as you know where it is, you have an idea, cover the vocabulary, you're doing great.
Okay. At the risk of dominating this conversation, my other little issue is, or big issue perhaps, is that the teacher that was in this position before me, and I don't know the extent of it. I mean, I know they didn't renew his contract, and the kids are constantly telling me that they basically did nothing but play ping pong. I guess they built a ping pong table and then they played ping pong. And I mean, I don't think they did anything. I don't know what they're supposed to know out of POE. I know there's that marble sorter that was supposed to be built, and I know they didn't do that.
Right.
And so I know their background is maybe weaker than what PLTW is expecting.
Okay.
In fact, I was thinking about doing the marble sorter with them just because I'm also teaching POE, and I thought this can be my dry run to do it with the CIM kids. But I don't know if you have any advice of what I should do from that aspect.
What I think I would do is I would make sure that they know what the difference between an open and closed loop system is, 127.
Okay.
However you want to do that. And then I would jump right to this automated guided vehicle and make that your go-to project for this activity in terms of, and that goes for everybody here. If you know about VEX or you know about whatever it is you're using, I would jump right down to the automated guided vehicle and say, look, here's an open-ended project. Once I've taught you all this, I want you to go into project 1.2.9 and build an AGV that's going to follow this line and stop at this and just follow these rules. So if they can do that, then you've done all the other ones previously well.
Okay, cool. Well, that's what I assigned. Well, not this exact thing, but I assigned them. They have to make something to follow a path. That was their assignment today, and then once they get it doing that, they're supposed to use the sonar to make it stop if I step in front of it.
Sure, and then
so I don't know how close that is to what that project is, but
take a look at it before next week and see what you can see, and then you can always kick it up a notch too. Actually, you put something on it, it senses that something's on it, and then it goes down the line and delivers it to the next stop. So they micro switch in it, and so you have all these going beyond activities, and you can take that really as far as you want. And you're 8 weeks into the course now, right? You said?
Yeah, we're 8 weeks into school. I mean, I didn't have access. My school is dragging their feet a little bit on getting the payment to PLTW, so I just did inventor stuff for like the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Gotcha.
Because I didn't know what else to do. I hadn't seen the curriculum, and then we've been doing robotics since then. All
right, so I guess what I would say to do then is I would take a look through and say, okay, well, I would go in and plug in and find out, well, I know that how we make things in 2.2 and product development and design for manufacturability, this is where Inventor lies. So you can go in and look.
Okay.
And, all right, I've covered this. So you're basically going to do like triage and go see what you've already done. And then go back. You know, it makes sense, right? And it probably
right.
for you at the time, and it doesn't hurt. I know people who teach lesson 2 first, and then do lesson 1, and then go to, and I know people who do it all different ways, all across the country, people do it different ways.
Mine was just a simple aspect of having been to IDE training, or IED training, and knowing Inventor and not knowing anything else. So
that's perfect.
So I did it first.
I'm going to borrow the screen real quick,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
This was something that Chris and I put together last year. It's in the curriculum, it's just not in the curriculum. In the curriculum, it has all this. There's just nothing that actually lays it out this way. So really, if you're looking at the first 2 weeks of school, that's where that research, that's where all of that stuff is supposed to lie, that 1.1. All of the 1.2 control systems, VEX, all of that stuff. This all right here, that's the AGV for me. Since my students have already learned control systems, inputs, outputs, they've already done all these activities in POE, then mine start directly with the AGV. So yeah, you're looking at about 2 weeks is what they're supposed to spend on the AGV. Then they go into cost of manufacturing with the transfer system. There's another couple, and then you've got some design flaws. That's a little bit of Inventor. This is Inventor, and then nobody does ethics and safety. So you got those things. Oh, that's so okay. So I guess there's somebody that does ethics and safety
per day.
So that's about week 8. So you may have to, I'm not going to say crush, but you may have to squish the concepts of cost because they need those. You may have to squish the concepts of research and try to find some ways of trickling those throughout, because what you're really going to want is you're going to want the time for this. This G&M code, CNC, cool stuff. I guess that's all hinging on the fact if you have a mill. But anyway, if this stuff here, this is what this is the cat's meow. The kids love this stuff. They get into making things and having the CNC run and the kind of containers that we do. And I would hate to waste. Okay, so not waste. I would hate to absorb a whole lot of my time with factual information, terminology, vocabulary, that kind of stuff. So you may have to try to create up some homework things where they can do little bits and pieces of it. So, catnip it every once in a while, drop these little things and see if you can get them to run after it, and then use your classroom time to kind of get back. But remember, the curriculums as they were developed by Project Lead the Way, they're just a guideline. They never really say that you have to use this equipment, you have to use this software, you have to do. They just say these are the concepts we want the kids to know. Here is enough for a first-year teacher to be able to make it through. Here is more than enough activities, and here's more than enough days and stuff to do so that you can get through this thing. So there's no problem with what you have already done, any of you that have had to fend for yourselves up until we can try to meet. We just want to try to use the equipment, your knowledge, and the resources the best that we can to get you through this year. But this container design, I mean, we're looking at almost 3 weeks. A week of that is just machining them. And then 2 weeks of trying to design them up. That in the curriculum, it says that it's supposed to take about 3 weeks. And then I'm really at Christmas time. And then you get into second semester, which does robotics. Well, if I don't own a mill yet and we're looking at trying to get that, I may go ahead and do robotics and do this whole container thing and all next semester. Whatever you need to do, you make it happen.
And while we're on that subject, I guess while Jim's been talking, I like typing up some information for you that things that you might want to questions that you might need to start asking of your people in your district in terms of questions that we want to know, the answers to. I think next week the first lesson we're going to do, the next PDP that we meet, we're going to try to teach a lesson on VEX, and using how do you make stuff in VEX and programming in Robot C, basic programming in Robot C. So I guess one of the first things you want to make sure is that you have Robot C installed. And do you have Inventor 2015 installed? Do not install 2016 because it won't work with the other piece of software that you want, which is EdgeCam. Do you have EdgeCam installed? So those are 3 questions that you want to ask your IT people quickly, as soon as you can, and then say, well, if not, can you install this for me, please? And they'll, go ahead.
Oh, well, see, my tech department put 2016 on, and I kind of mentioned to them I'd rather have 15. But we were, I guess I'm not familiar with EdgeCam. I had them put HSM on. Is that something I need, or is EdgeCam like a better version of that, or
what you're supposed to be using this year? If you don't have EdgeCam, HSM works. It's just different than. It'll be similar but different, and we'll give you some resources to use to be able to make that. Okay, as long as it's working, that's the key.
Right.
And when you get it installed, you're going to want to check it. So we'll show you how to do that. So if everybody would, I just sent to everybody in the chat a little, 3 questions. Copy and paste those into something so that you can ask somebody, do you have these installed? And then the next thing that I wanted to get from everybody is, so we'll start, let's see, Tom, can you tell us, do you have a CNC mill?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and what kind is it?
Yes. I knew you were going to ask me that, and it's in the other room.
Okay, that's okay. Is it blue by any chance? Is it small and blue?
Yes.
It's small.
It's actually fairly sized in blue.
Okay.
I would say it's sitting on a tabletop, probably 4 by 3 by 2.
Okay.
It's a box.
I bet.
Yes, big box.
So you have a 6,000.
Entirely possible.
Okay, so it's probably an Intelitech. That's awesome. Because
yes, actually, that sounds very familiar.
Intelitech. I can't spell today. Intelitech. Gail, do you know if you have a CNC mill?
I do, and same thing. I'm going to have to look in the other room to see what.
Funny enough, do you know what color it is?
Yeah.
It is Techno.
You have a Techno, so it's a router.
Got it. And Nathan, what?
I have a blue, I think it's called an Express mill. I'm actually at home right now. I think it's Intelitech. I have a bunch of Intelitech stuff. So
the front of it's round.
Yeah. It's a round shield that lowers down over it.
Okay, yeah. It's an Expert.
Yeah, maybe Expert mill. Maybe that's what it was called.
Yep.
And I got that to work. It wasn't. I was told by my predecessor it wasn't working, but the last time I went and fired it up, yeah, that's a picture of it.
Yep. Excellent. Good. Very good.
It's one version ago, so that's good.
All right. My next question we'll start with Tom again. Do you have any Lynx Motion robots?
The Vex robots?
Nope. Lynx Motion.
Lynx Motion.
I'm just going to show you a picture of what they look like. They look like
the arm. Yes, I think I've got 4 arms.
Okay, 4 Lynx arms. Excellent. And how about you, Gail?
I've seen 2 of those.
Okay.
There's a couple other places I can look, but right now that's all I know I have.
Okay, and those don't come up until the second half of the year. So if you can find more, that would be great. And Nathan, do you have any Lynx arms?
I am almost certain I do not have Lynx arms. I have that blue arm that you just put up there. I have that.
Excellent.
And then I have 2 other arms that I'm not sure what they are.
Excellent. About the same size as that one?
Yeah.
Okay. 3 Scorebot type size. The big blue one is awesome to have.
Is it?
Not necessary to have. The little ones are a lot of fun. The kids enjoy them, and it's easier. You can't do some of the activities without those. So, but again, that's not till the second half of the year. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but just to keep you thinking, we're kind of lucky. Everybody at least has a CNC machine, so that's really kind of a good thing. Check and make sure before the next time we meet, which is 2 weeks from now, that Robot C is installed, and we can get working on some lessons with Robot C. And I think, Jim, do you want to show them some of the resources on the website that they can use no matter where they are in the curriculum? There's these two guys we know that put together a website, and it's really pretty slick in terms of it has things that you might need or want on a daily basis. So if you're in everything that you want, you go to solutions, and let's say we want to work in VEX or Robot C solutions. You can go down to either one of those tabs, you click on it, and anything you want to know how to do with this stuff, there are articles, and the articles contain videos on how to do things. So that's there for you too. IED, IED stuff. Some of the big things, EdgeCam, anything that you really think that you need might be here in a video tutorial, and you can search it. If you wanted to do how to make a container, or you want to learn how to do the trains from IED, you can click on number 4 right there, and it'll take you to some video tutorials that one of the teachers at my school did. These ones were done by Jim and I, and you click on one, it takes you to our YouTube channel that you can watch the whole series of videos step by step. Go ahead.
What are these containers made out of?
I make mine in my classroom. I make them out of Ren shape it's called, and I think Jim does too.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can Google some images of them.
Okay, so that's the, I remember looking at that. That's the super expensive $200 a sheet board stuff.
Yes, it is. You can also,
yeah, I got fiberboard instead.
You can use just about any MDF works. You can use anything, really. And yes, this stuff.
I just noticed the person in front, my predecessor had ordered a bunch of MDF, and looking at the pictures of the two side by side online, I thought they might be.
They're kind of similar. MDF is more fibrous.
Yeah.
Rin shape is an actual prototyping material. It's designed to be able to hold an edge. When you mill things like MDF, it basically turns back into fibers. And when you mill Rin shape, it turns into shaving. So it has more of a property of being able to shave something like aluminum. You get chips and things that come off of it. It holds a much tighter edge and those types of things. Most MDF only comes 3/4 of an inch thick, where you can get the MDF or the Rin shape in several different. A lot of people also use butterboard. You can also, and Chris and I are probably this year going to start buying a different grade of Rin shape.
Yeah.
When you start looking at Rin shape is evaluated by its density and the type of edge that it will hold. So if I look at machinable media, I look at Rin shape molding styles, 440 I think is what the curriculum.
Yes, that's what we're using.
Yes, or is it the 450?
I
think the 450 is the one that's in the curriculum, and then the 460 is even more expensive than that.
Yeah.
The Rin shape 440 I think is what we're going to try to go with this year. The only reason Project Lead the Way even said the 450 is because the 450 can be bought in partial sheets. So I can buy a linear length of 15 inches, but I can get a much lower price. When you look at the 440, I can't get any of the small sheets. They're all 60 inches long. But regardless, if I've got to buy 3 sheets of the other one for a class, I'm up to here anyways, and I can actually get this considerably cheaper.
Yes, it's much cheaper. The shipping kills you too. The shipping is very expensive on this.
But this board weighs quite a bit less. Like I said, it all has to do with the density of it.
Yep, 34 pounds.
So
Go ahead.
So next year I should look into possibly getting this Rin shape 440 and seeing how much better it is than the MDF and going from there.
If you had the money in the budget, I think it has the properties that allow kids to take home something really, really cool that looks like where it looks like, you can paint it so that it looks like metal. You can stain it so that it looks like wood. And so all of a sudden, when you're trying to get kids into your classes, it's a pretty valuable commodity. So that's really how I look at it. And I can make a full, I can spend $400 and I can get all my projects for a whole year, 2 sections of class at 20 kids a section, and I have some left over.
Okay.
So in some of the other projects, I won't do using that material. I'll use, like when we do a couple of the different projects, I'll use the Blue Builder styrofoam, the stuff you can buy for $4 a sheet that's 8 foot long and 3 foot wide. I'll make it out of that because it's not something that they're going to really take home. And, you know, it's not really something it's just practice.
Is that like, you're talking like home insulation, or is this different?
No, the home insulation stuff.
Okay.
It's staticky, but it's cheap. Don't wear your.
And you can mill it.
Right. Don't wear your dark shirt that day. That's all. These containers are wren shape, and that's wren shape with acrylic, laser engraved, and machined into it so that it's an inlay. And these are all the wren shape stuff, but just stained like wood, stained and polyurethane with inlays.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do a lot. If you paint it, it ends up looking like, you can make it look like metal too.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of things you can. So yeah, is it expensive? Yes. You can use wood. I've made the last couple. This last year, my project, my main project for the year was made out of wood. We learned how to glue up wood, and we machined the wood. The only thing with the wood, if you're using that on your milling machine, you want to keep your machines very, very clean, and you want to oil them frequently because the sawdust will suck the oil out of the table and all of the metal parts, and it'll rust really fast.
Okay.
So this is poplar.
Yeah.
And you can get you're not going to get it from like Menards or whatnot, but you can find some places that'll sell you large stock material to be able to cut up and use.
Mm-hmm. That's 2-inch material, right, Jim?
This was 2x3 by long sticks.
Yeah, yep, and it's like turning stock. You can buy turning stock at a lumber place and use that, cut that up. That works really well too. And you use a chop saw to cut it up, depending on your lab situation.
Okay.
It's easy to cut up with a chop saw and machine from that.
So it's called turning stock, huh? Normally they use it on like
like on a lathe.
What are those called? A lathe?
Yeah, they like to turn baseball bats or, just turn
Okay.
stuff out of it. I guess you could get curly maple. I bet that'd be a little expensive.
Very cost effective.
Yeah. I bet
Some burl wood.
that's more than wren shape.
They look pretty.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Huh. And if you do use the wood, I would purchase the carbide tools. They're going to be like twice as expensive, but they last forever in terms of they won't burn the wood. If wood burns after a little bit because you can't bring the machine up to speed like you could a router, and that's where Gail, who has a router, you don't have to worry about that particular problem. But for those of you who want to learn how to use Inventor and HSM, so there's all kinds of videos on how to do things in Inventor and how to do things in CAM, so HSM and EdgeCam. So you can use those at any time too. But I think the way it's going to work is starting next week, we're going to start in 1.2 and 1.3, and we're going to show you how to use Robot C in the VEX stuff. And then after we do the Robot C and the VEX stuff, and you kind of feel comfortable with that, and you've asked all the questions you need to ask, we'll start moving into Unit 2 so that you can kind of be ahead of the ball. Ahead of the curve on that. We'll teach you some of the stuff in Lesson 2 with Inventor and CAM software so that you can then go teach it. So you're kind of ahead of us right now. So we're going to back up a little bit, do a little bit of Robot C so you get the information that you need to be successful with it. And then we're going to go and do the other stuff the following week and the weeks after that. Does that kind of make sense for you?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds great.
Okay.
So is there any glaring questions that any of you have already?
No, I still have some IT issues with Robot C, and I have Inventor 2016, and I've been fighting with them to get all that in, so I don't know what kind of problem I'm going to have trying to get them to do Inventor 2015 also.
And you may just have to, because the problem that I have seen in the past is uninstalling 2016.
Right.
It's been a pain in the butt. I have seen computers go wonky trying to get it uninstalled and then putting 15 in behind it.
Right.
Sometimes it likes to leave little bits and pieces of itself. It's not that hard to go up in the versions. It's sometimes not good to go back in the versions. So
And we can
Well, and
work.
what about,
We can
I'm
work
sorry.
around that. We can work around
Okay.
having 2016. We can show you how to do that. It's not optimal though, because if you have an issue, and it's going to be really hard to send a 2016. Like I don't even have 2016 installed.
I don't either.
I couldn't even open it. So it kind of puts. But always know that Project Lead the Way always stays a year back, even though you can go and download the latest greatest. You can, but you know, I like sticking with something I know that works for a year. It's kind of neat.
That and Project Lead the Way they always go through an entire year of testing. So right now they're going to be in the phase of testing 2016 out with all of our other software packages and whatnot for next year's curriculum.
Right.
And one of the big things that people are already finding is you can't make Inventor 2016 files go into EdgeCam. Not directly, not parametrically. I can export them. I can compress them out to a different file type, and I can open them in the EdgeCam, but that's just an extra step that you wish you didn't have to do. If it comes down to it, we can work around those things, and we can get you fixes for any of those types of things. It's not going to be anything that's going to be detrimental. We can get you into HSM. We can do whatever is necessary, but the reason we don't have 2016 is just for those types of things, is it's not been vetted with everything else. Is it going to play well with what we've got? Is it going to be stable for the entire nation curriculum-wise? Some teachers are still having problems with EdgeCam, and almost always the problem with EdgeCam is about their IT people not truly installing it the way that it's supposed to be installed, because they all think they know everything, and they install it without looking at any instructions. I guess they're guys, and they won't ask for instructions, and it all goes wonky, and then they just want to blame it on the vendor and the software package, not on this was not done in the right order. They put Inventor on, or they put EdgeCam on and then to Inventor, and then can't figure out those problems. And Project Lead puts together a great list of step-by-step instructions that your IT people are supposed to have access to, and apparently they just won't access them.
And I've found when I've had to install software, if you follow those directions, it generally works.
Well, and I'm not allowed to, of course, install anything, so I have to go through them.
And you can let them know too, hey, just so you know, there's directions that work perfectly.
I will do that first thing tomorrow.
And yeah, so that's, if you have Robot C for next time around in Inventor, for the time after that, you know, if you stay ahead of the curve on the installing of the software, it's going to make these PDP sessions much easier. So when we throw an Inventor lesson at you, if you're working in Inventor, you know, right along with us, it makes it more meaningful. It'll make it easier for you too, I think. So.
Absolutely. Well, I think I'm probably going to have to stick with Inventor 2016 because I fought with them for a month.
We'll work it out in the CAM.
Okay.
We'll figure something out. And so if you have Robot C and Inventor, then work on them on EdgeCam. You may want to say to them, look, I need these 3 pieces of software, and I need them before the
in this order. Yes.
And boom, see what happens. And we'll also
I'll be honest, for me, The magic phrase that really has paid off for working with a couple IT departments
Mhm.
is the lack of this is deeply impacting student learning.
Oh, nice.
And getting that phrase in there has been the magic phrase that pays.
I've used that one as well as I cannot continue with my curriculum. I've used capital letters. I've used you are stopping the learning of students.
Now, rephrase that again, how you said it the first time. That was perfect. The lack of this software is detrimental.
Deeply impacting student learning.
Excellent. I'm going to use that in about 15 minutes.
If that doesn't work, it's always nice to be friends with your superintendent and just let them know that
That's next.
I can call them up and we can see what the problem is if this can't get installed.
Because that's going to be my next step, because I've got stuff that's the same. And this, like I said, this is a two-way street. I tell my kids this all the time. I'm going to learn as much from my kids in CIM as they're going to learn from me. They're going to find easy ways in Inventor to do things. They're going to find easier ways in HSM or EdgeCam to do something. You know, they'll come up with that on their own, and they'll share it with me. And it's always a learning experience. So,
and we both have our specialties. The communication and the electronics and everything, from the control systems, VEX, to the robots and whatnot, that really is Chris's wheelhouse. That's one of his major things that he's great at. The Inventor and the CAM work, those are two of the things that I really enjoy. So you're going to find out that there's a couple that you kind of like, and there's a couple that you can tolerate.
yeah, and this is a very software-intensive course, but it's not bad. We don't dive real deep into any of it, and if you keep that in mind, I think you won't get scared away, and I think you'll actually enjoy this course.
And whoever said they had these blue robots, Project Lead the Way used to have these in the curriculum. You're looking at about a $22,000 robot with the slide base and all the accessories. And the new robot that we have, he's about $300. So we can buy quite a few of those before we bought one big blue one. But the nice part is you still get the software and the simulation component of this. So the kids will be able to bring him in, bring a mill in, be able to load it up, and for whoever it is that actually has it, you'll be able to make it happen in real life. You could actually make your robot go over and grab stuff and put it in the mill, or there's no difference. It's just a simulation, and you take it away from the computer and you plug it into the bot, and it'll just work, and it'll do whatever you need it to do. So they're very cool, and the kids are still going to get to learn how to use it. Your kids may just have the opportunity to actually get on one instead of just thinking about it, just doing it in simulation.
What software runs that robot?
The score, not Scorebase. I'm drawing a blank.
Scorebot. That's
RoboCell.
RoboCell, yes.
Scorebase is what runs the actual bot. RoboCell is the simulation component. It's kind of funny that every time my director walks in, she thinks that this is CIM, S-I-M, instead of C-I-M. So when she talks to people, it's CIMS. Actually, it's plural, too, when she says it. I'm not quite sure what the other S stands for. But anyway, it just ironically, every time she walks in, we're doing simulations in some kind of 3D component. I'm like, okay, I give up. Apparently, we're CIMS. We're S-I-M-S, whatever.
So does anybody else have any other questions, that burning questions that you need answered before we meet in 2 weeks to talk about Robot C? Because the way, I think most of you probably got my email, we have a bunch of people on the West Coast also. A couple people on the East Coast, and the three of you right in the middle. So to make this a little bit, so everybody has a little bit of FaceTime with us, since this is the only CIM PDP, every other week we're going to open it up for if you have questions. Like if you have questions between now and next week, email us, let us know. And you don't want to sit around for an hour if you only have one question. We're not trying to waste anybody's time. So if you have a question and you need it answered, and we can answer it via email, great. If we can't answer it via email, we can fire up GoToMeeting at any time, really, and then you have a 10-minute question, we can show you something online. I can walk my computer around over to the milling machine, turn the camera on the milling machine, and you can see something that way. So every week we're going to meet at 4 o'clock and do this. And then every other week, if you need something, email us, or just we can do this if you need it too. So we don't want you to feel boxed in. We don't want you to feel like you have to be here if you don't have any questions. If you don't have any questions next week, good for you. That's awesome. Work on what it is you need to work on. But I mean, I can't believe that last year we told 10 people, if you have any questions, let us know, and we never had a question ever emailed to us.
That's because you're just that good.
Maybe that's it. That's got that's got to be it. But seriously, so go into the LMS, give us some questions. Let us do our job and get some information out to you, and we'll decide if email doesn't work, then we can use GoToMeeting. We can do anything that we need to make your job a little bit easier. All right.
Great. Are you going to send the link to this email, the C&J CIM Integrating Manufacturing and Education?
I can. I'll tell you what. I will type it in right now into the chat window, and I just sent it to you.
Thank you.